Hello everyone, this is Fireswamp playing Creeper World 4, and today I'm going to be giving an introduction on how to get very low times on various Creeper World 4 maps. This practice is often called speedrunning within the community, but holds a lot more similarities to what other communities would call tassing, in that we use in-game time, we have frame advance, save states, and generally perfect information about what's going on. So, if you are interested in what I'm going to be showing today, you can join the Discord either from the link in the main menu of the game, or I will also place the link in the description of this video. And on there, we host weekly competitions doing this for various maps. So we're given a few maps, and we generally just have a certain time frame to try and complete them in the fastest time possible. Now, so the first map I'm going to demonstrate this on is actually a campaign mission. It's Runes Repurposed, because it has one of the easiest speedruns to perform. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is what's known as a Weaponless Totem rush, in that we are going to power the totems here without building a single weapon. Now, if you kind of think, okay, so what's our objective? We need to connect this liftic box to these totems right here as quickly as possible. Well, okay, so quickest way to build a connection would just be build a bunch of towers between these two locations. Okay. Let's think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we'd need to build 7 towers. Except not exactly, because we can just have the lab in between pairs of towers like this. So then we don't need, for example, these 2 towers in the middle here. The thing is, exactly where do we place it? We could place it, like, up here, so I mean, maybe down here makes the most sense. But the answer that we're going to actually get from where we need to place the lab, well, we're just going to play the level for a bit. We notice that this emitter right here, this creep is going to become a problem. So, for towers, the general rule is, at least early game, it takes a few seconds per tower. Like, it takes a few seconds to build each tower. So to build a line of towers like this would probably take 20, 30, 40 seconds, depending on exactly how many towers, where you place the Rift Lab, and then you need this connection to stay stable for some 15 seconds to actually have all the liftic get delivered. Okay, so let's just kind of get a vague idea. So it looks like we're going to be trying to get all the liftic in place. Looks like this entire connection, like we could go around this, we could maybe build this here. So it looks like this connection stays safe until around 35 seconds. Is that enough to get all the liftic over? We'll find out that yes, that is in fact enough time. So, what we want to do is we want to reduce the number of towers, because the real time is how long it takes for us to get this connection built. So, we couldn't really build on this low ground, that wasn't safe, so this is kind of the closest we could get to being safe. And then, well, what's the closest we could get to this? Halfway between the, I want to put this in the direction of the tower, so maybe here? Well, we'll find out. And it looks like, oh, so what we have here is we have a spot that will connect to all 4 totems. Okay. Now, ignore that, because we're just not playing how the game wants us to. Now with these towers set up, if we unpause, now the lab has a lot of health. The lab can survive about a full minute in Creeper. So you can just let it sit in Creeper, you don't care. Okay, so we've got the collect. So we've collected the item. Now, this connection is built, and the liftic is being routed. And what we'll notice is we win before we die. And this is one of the main things that we do when we speedrun these levels, is we just see if we can win before we die. Okay, so that was a very good start off. That was 36 seconds. Okay. But we can do better. Because if we noticed, we were kind of waiting for these towers up at the top to be finished first, and we were running a bit short on energy. So, we can do something slightly... So, the first thing I did is I kind of tried to straighten this line out as best I could. So the other thing is I believe that this was the position right there. So we're going to do something slightly different. It's going to look very similar. But now, I'm not going to build this tower yet. What we're going to do is we're just going to wait on this tower. So now all of these northern towers are being built a lot quicker. And what we want is we want this tower, because realistically we only care about when this line is completed. And this tower is very close to the Rift Lab, so once we start sending out packets, it'll get there very quickly. So what we want is this tower to get its last packet basically at the same time this tower does, because that means we would have optimized this. Okay. So now these towers completed pretty close to around the same time. So remember, our last time we got 36 seconds. This time, we managed to get that down to 35.3. And I believe that that is optimal for this strategy. There actually is a slightly better strategy, but it's very difficult to execute. Okay. So that was kind of the introduction level to this. Now we're going to go to a slightly more complicated level. This level, it came from the void, is actually the current competition map in the competition I mentioned earlier. So we have worked quite hard at optimizing this, and I believe the current best time is 1:42. We're not going to be getting that, or anywhere close. So this time, we don't have a liftic box. Totems are, instead of being in one area, they're scattered all around the map. But our objective remains the same. Get 20 liftic to each of these totems. And we have green art crystals here. We have green art mothers here, a few other locations. So, what we need to do is we need to kind of come up with a strategy. Okay, so, to beat this level, we need to put a refinery in range of range of one of these crystals, deliver that green art to a factory, and then we need to route that green art to each of these 4 totems. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by building towers in trees. I'm going to choose to start down here just because it is kind of a bit... this green art mother is kind of the most central, and also trees give bonus power. So I want an area with trees and a central green art mother. Okay. So in terms of building up, usual rule is you start off by building 2 towers, and then you build towers 1 at a time until you have the power, until you get production to build more than that. Okay. So now that we have a bunch of production, I'm going to place this refinery here. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put an urn on it. This is where knowledge of game mechanics really comes in, because an earned refinery will produce twice as much green art from each green art crystal. So usually, if you do not earn a refinery, it's going to grab this crystal and give 12 green art to your factory. If you get an urn on it, it'll produce double that, 24. Okay, so we're going to be building that, but now, if you notice, I don't have a factory. Well, I don't need it. I only need the factory when this refinery is done and it's started to go off. Okay, so now we can look at actually connecting to all of these totems. Okay, so let's take a look. So we can connect to this one fairly easily. This one, very much same deal. Just... sure. And also this one down here. Slightly more annoying, but we can deal with that. Come on. Okay. Okay. But if you notice, I still haven't connected up to this totem, and this one's going to be a lot more difficult to actually connect to. So we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to route the liftic there using a porter. We only need 20, so we're going to set it to its capacity to 20, and we want liftic, and we want to fly to this totem to power it. Okay. Now again, this refinery, we only care about the factory when this we only need a factory when this refinery is not just done but also powered. So the general rule is when the refinery is at 65, it will need 15 more packets, and then it will need 10 to power it. 15 plus 10, 25, the cost of the factory. So you want to place the factory down around when this has 60 to 65 in it. I've done it a bit early just for safety. And we also don't need that this early. Okay. Okay, and now that we have energy, we can reactivate this. Okay. Now, if we just let this go... And that gives us a 2-minute time. And it looks like the 142 has actually been beaten by a 141. So, now that's kind of the first iteration of what we could do. We can do better than this. Okay. So again, we want to start in the trees. Now, one of our biggest limiting factors was how quickly we got the refinery up. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get this refinery up pretty much as soon as possible. Oh, need to earn that, need to enable that. Okay. Okay. So now what we want is we want our storage to never hit 0. We want this to always be producing at max speed. So, the other thing I'm going to do is that... going to connect to these two as normal, but we were kind of delayed by that right side totem. So instead of building one porter, I'm instead going to try and build 2. Okay, now I need to keep an eye on my energy. It's getting very low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable these towers to make sure that... Okay, I hit 0, which is not good. So this got slightly delayed. But that's fine. Okay. Be a bit careful. Okay, and the other thing... Okay, so now we want these to be at around 20. Don't want to bother repeating route. We're just going to keep an eye on our energy. It's getting low, so disable those. Might as well set the destinations of these already. This is sitting at 60. I can delay this to about 65. Oh. Okay, so how's my energy doing? Okay, so I don't need these towers yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable those to get these going sooner. Okay. So we all want to get these done. Okay, now an annoying quirk of these porters is that they will eat through your energy for really no good reason. It's kind of a bug, but... Okay, so the other thing we're going to do... So you're going to notice that once these porters get finished, or once they get powered, we're also going to turn supply off. This is going to, first of all, help our power situation, and second of all, it's going to make it so that these don't request more liftic. Did I set this? No, that should be set right. Okay, so this means that the liftic should get routed to these totems sooner. Now... Okay, so that was about 10 seconds faster. And little optimizations like what I just did will add up to get you down to the time similar to what Manicious Grace has put up. But those are, to an extent, left to yourself to figure out. And with that, that is all that I want to demonstrate for you today. So with that, goodbye, and I hope to see you in the competitions to come.